The streetwear, what it is. This fashion trend, easy and inspired by sportswear, consists largely of wearing loose pants, large shoes, jogging, hoodies, as well as t-shirts that are larger or less wide and often long-sleeved, although they can also be tied. There are some variations. For example, the American wrap. Streetwear can be accessorized with large and ostentatious gold jewelry, along with designer's caps and large coats. Watch some clips of US singer Bruno Mars. Characteristics of streetwear: a less spontaneous style than it looks. The use of visible branding is characteristic. Brand logoed clothing becomes a sign of recognition, of belonging to the same family. This use of clothing does not offer any difference between morning and evening until it becomes a standardized uniform of cities. Freedom of movement remains a strong parameter of streetwear, which works closely with sportswear. Some history about streetwear. As a reaction to a luxurious fashion, streetwear appeared in the 80s and the 90s. Its roots lie in New York, in a mix somewhere between skateboarding and hip-hop fashion. This movement appears as a reaction to the ostentatious and costly trends of fashion of the 80s. Initially, brands tend to stay away from streetwear as it was associated with the street bad boys and rap, so as not to damage their images. Initially, brands tend to stay away from streetwear as it was associated with the street bad boys and rap, so as not to damage their image, because rappers had a bad reputation. Then come merchandising about streetwear. The big brands are taking over, but beyond the 2010s, many well-known designers are inspired by it and divert it to casual luxury. Many luxury brands now collaborate with streetwear brands, and some music stars have their own brands, such as Rihanna or Kanye West. Streetwear is no more a popular streetwear. What are the benefits of streetwear? Popular fashion is a fashion that has to be economical. We wear the same clothes for every occasion, and this is the first time ever in fashion. The fabrics are rather low-end, and thanks to a global and standardized distribution, prices are low. But brands have made it a rather high-end market recently, like Nike. Is it the end of streetwear? The announced end of streetwear. Whatever their success, all trends are temporary. The problems of globalization, a greater sensitivity to ecology, a kind of return to regional identity, have signed up the beginning of the end of streetwear. Take this easy. This end can last for many years to come, but some sectors will remain like activewear, which is the old sportswear, because it's truly useful for people. And then, what are after the streetwear? In a recent post in the French magazine L'Express, they stated recently, designer Virgil Abloh, interviewed by the fashion magazine Dazed, says that streetwear is definitely going to die. If you don't know who Virgil Abloh is, run for information. Why is it a stylistic bomb? This is because this prediction is delivered by the Pope of Streetwear, the current artistic director of men's fashion for Louis Vuitton, the one who was precisely chosen by the great luxury brand because he was the king of this movement. When Virgil Abloh declares, streetwear has done its time, we can't wait to see what the massive trend that he thinks can replace the one that has dominated for so long. His answer? A mix of personal style with vintage. Some trends are appearing, and many are disappearing as well, just like the Gorpcore. In early 2014, New York Magazine evoked the normcore trend and its ultra-normal look: jeans, logo-free t-shirts and white sneakers, simple and basic. In 2019, a new one arrives from across the Atlantic, the gobcore. What is it? A look inspired by mountain climbers and technical rather than luxurious brands. Very practical and comfortable, but isn't it a new trend of a more economical streetwear, isn't it? Some say tailoring is coming after the streetwear. What's the tailoring trend? To say it simple, the tailoring trend is going back to couture. This trend is expanding strongly as an extreme opposite to streetwear and its casual style. This is currently 2020. Along with the ultimate working girl wardrobe, skirt and trouser suits, accents of Parisian couture comes back. Designers are revisiting their roots, and the best example is Dolce & Gabbana, who constantly reinvent their Sicilian roots. Careful, the photo on the left isn't from Dolce & Gabbana. Some say conscious trend is coming. What is conscious trend? We are talking about slow fashion, a fashion oriented towards the future, more responsible, ethical, and even vegan. As more and more of us worry about the manufacturing conditions of our garments, brands are committed and transparent about how they are produced and how they design their collections. Some, such as Stella McCartney, has long been engaged in this process. Others promise the use of ecological materials such as organic cotton and highlight fair trade to agree with the social sphere's request. Thus, dressing is no longer a banal story of clothing, but a real political position. This was already the case for the hippie trend in the 70s. You can also turn the wear to wear clothes from recycling in one way or another. There are dozens of opportunities to dress more consciously. Websites are flourishing to offer this so-called alternative fashion. So, what's going to happen in fashion? Our societies are changing fast, and fashion has to stay ahead of these changes. As always, many currents of fashion can coexist in the same era. Not to mention that globalization has opened us up to the influences of distant countries. It's up to you, future fashion designers, to find your personal style in this whirlwind of influences. It's not the sources of inspiration that you'd be lacking. It's the work of reflection, of maturation that will lead you to your own creative expression, whether in clothing, accessories, jewelry, decoration. The field of possibilities is almost endless. What do you think about next trends? Send me your thoughts, your personal feelings, the result of your reflections at anyacamau.academy. Thank you!